I've got some really great news, guys. We have a beautiful and very rare Mercury Cazimi in the heart of the sun with Saturn joining into the mix that we haven't seen in our skies in our lifetimes in the sign of Pisces on February 28th. On a fixed star that is literally make your dreams and wishes come true star, and a beautiful Sabian symbol about rising above your limitations. So we're going to talk about how this triple conjunction of February 28th at 9 degrees of Pisces can truly illuminate and bring to our lives something incredibly positive in the Pisces part of your natal sky in your 12 pie slices of your houses of your chart. So I'm really happy to deliver this news today because we've had a pretty difficult sky with some really intense patterns. And this is something that looks much, much lighter as well for the world and the difficult circumstances in the world. This can bring a break in the more tragic or horrific or difficult stories that we have going on in the globe right now. So let's talk about this sky. Let's bring it into focus. We're going to be going through a little bit of the mundane astrology, which is about world events. And then more particularly, we'll be talking a lot more about how this impacts you based on your sun, moon, and rising. Please listen first to your rising sign if you know it. And if you don't, check out my description box, how to cast your chart in whole sign houses, that you can also use in order to create your natal chart and look at whole sign houses and also find your rising signs. That tutorial is down below. But also, if you want to think about your sun and moon, the sun can be career, father figures, purpose. The moon can be mother figures, home, nest, safety, and your body. So you can listen to sun and moon as well, but certainly, definitely listen for your rising sign. So let's get going. And if you are new to my channel, and some of you may be, welcome. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac and whole sign houses. And of course, the fixed stars and minor asteroids are part of my favorite things to talk about. We also have a couple of interesting asteroids in the mix. Icarus, the asteroid for something where you reach for great heights and you can have your wings melt, or you don't want to accept your limitations. And we see that as well with the Sabian symbol, which we'll get to. Gonggong, the destructive water serpent that can create catastrophes, is mixed up in this particular story, as well as a centaur, Pholus, who's known for having like a domino or snowball effect from one small thing that you can do or encounter that then cascades into something much larger than you expected. We'll talk about how those three asteroids are playing out in the sky. With this particular Cazimi, I'm doing a webinar on the 26th of February. It's not full yet. If you want to join me, please come. It's free. I'm going to talk about how to really harness these asteroids as wish upon a star. We're going to be doing a guided meditation. It's going to be instructional, like a class with a slideshow, but also participation, questions, and conversation. So that webinar is coming up. If you can't make the webinar, and it is free, and you have signed up, you will get a replay sent to you, so you can also not be there, but still receive the great information that I hopefully will be giving you. Okay, so let's get going and let's show you the sky in a minute. But let me first say, what is the Sabian symbol for 9 degrees of Pisces, where we're going to see Saturn and Mercury and the sun all together at 9 degrees. And on the 28th of February, depending on your time zone. It's not so much that it matters exactly, like the moment it happens, but you can roughly go about 12 hours before and 12 hours after this time I'm about to give you, adjust for your time zone. You're in the heart of the Cazimi. I'll be giving you more specific time frames to harness this magically and otherwise in my webinar. Usually best to harness it when Mercury comes out of the sun, not before he gets into the heart of the sun. But in my place of residence, Vancouver, Canada, this is happening at February 28th at 12:42 a.m. for me. So it's just past noon, right? It's moving, 12:42 a.m. So it's in the wee hours of the night, not p.m. So it's just crossing the midnight threshold in Vancouver, Canada. So obviously for some people, this is going to lead to something happening on the 28th. And for other people, it will be on the 29th. Again, adjust for your time zone. I'm speaking right now to the exact moment of the Cazimi, but 10 hours before, 10 hours after, you're still in this energy. Some of you may be asking, what is a Cazimi? It means Mars is going to go in front of the sun or behind the sun, in this case, because he's a direct motion behind the sun, or called a superior conjunction, and he will be out of the eyeballs of our eyeballs. We can hardly ever see Mercury anyway, but this is like really blinded by the sun, in the middle of the sun, by virtue of our position on Earth as we look at the sun. or at Mercury. And this is like a death and rebirth for Mercury. He's coming into the heart of the sun to die, be incinerated, get divine instructions from God, so to speak, and come out the other end with a new mission. Quite often, the day of a Cazimi, which again, February 28th, 29th, depending on your time zone, can deliver a very really important news story in our news cycle because Mercury rules news. But it's also great for illumination, divine downloads, new insights, new understanding individually. And with this particular Cazimi, it's really possible because of this lucky star to embed a wish, right? We're going to talk about the star involved here, that is literally like make a wish and your wishes can come true, that kind of vibe. And this is a star that is very fascinating. I'll be delineating it. The other thing about this Cazimi is Saturn happens to be there. So if you were looking at the sky right now and you were going to try to see Lord Saturn, you can't see him. He's been invisible now for quite a while, almost about 3 weeks, and he'll continue to be visible until he gets a minimum of 15 degrees away from the sun. I will talk about the time frame of this in more depth because there could be a delay in our lives with Mercury and Saturn in the heart of the sun for Saturn to also express the goodness of this Cazimi when he becomes visible again. So keep that in mind as well. So maybe the day of the event, harness it, big stories coming up in a news cycle that we should all pay attention to. And then the possibility that some of the real juice will show up later when Saturn is visible. And he says, oh yeah, I was getting some divine downloads there with Mercury and the sun. Let me give you the goods. Hopefully good for war. The Sabian symbol of this degree, and we always round up from 9 degrees and Sabian land to 10 of Pisces, is an aviator in the clouds. I have to laugh at that because Icarus is conjunct this particular event as well. And I talked about in one of my recent videos that with the fated new moon in Aquarius, that Icarus's involvement could lead to somebody falling from the sky, like a world leader having a downfall. We saw Prince Charles step away. I've talked about him in many other videos to do with eclipses of Pluto. And we may see Biden step down, but we also can see things like there was a Chilean former president who fell from the sky literally in his helicopter and believed died during the outcome of what I was delineating. And so again, with Icarus involved, we could see news stories about a fall from power because the sun where Icarus was flying and his wings melted had to do with power. Or the idea of rising to solar heights that only the gods could go to. So an aviator in the clouds on the Sabian symbol to me is reminiscent of the idea of going high. And in my book that I really enjoy, it's a beat up old book, the Sabian Symbols by Diana E. Roche. These are channeled symbols. There are 365 degrees of the zodiac and the 365 channeled symbols for each degree. She says this is the theme global perspective. And she says the symbol speaks to rising above the limitations of eye-to-eye problem solving and viewing things from the higher, more holistic view. Okay, so I love that because I'm seeing in the star as well similar delineations, as well as some of the asteroids. And she says your greatest advantage lies in distancing yourself from a difficult problem or situation in order to take a more objective view. Look at the whole picture, find patterns in things and in events. And her key words here: transcendence, exploration, perspective, overview, observation, vision, long-range planning, domination, going beyond, rising above, abstract thinking, and a viewpoint lookout. So kind of like that vibe for sure. I think we can all benefit from a little bit of higher perspective in the world today and in our lives in particular. I also want to address something before we move into the picture of the sky and do some all signs and stuff. I'm an astrologer who does likes to look at the mundane astrology and then talk about your personal. So in the beginning, I will talk about what the sky looks like for the world. Sometimes that's 10 minutes, sometimes it's half an hour, but you don't have to stick around for that unless you're in the live premiere, right? What you can do is simply hit the timestamps by clicking the title of this video, and it'll show you the chapters of the timestamps are pinned to the comments. The second thing I want to say is my Sky Reader class is starting in probably April, maybe early May, but check it out. The description box below, Time Your Best Life, Be Your Own Astrologer. That class has been taught 4 times. This is my 5th time teaching it. And so if you want to grab a seat in that class, I teach it live. There's Q&As. We have a Facebook group. It's a lot of real-time energy with me. And And so that class is starting, as I said, sometime in April or May, but the wait list is important. You get early bird discounts, but you also get in because quite often it gets full pretty darn quickly. And the next thing I wanted to say, this is my third thing before I show you the chart. Whew, okay. You know, look at your sky, guys. I've got Pythia, the Oracle of Delphi, sitting on my ascendant. I was a psychic reader and remote viewer in my 30s full time. I was on a BBC documentary effectively doing successful remote viewing. I was trained by a guy that came out of Project Stargate. Why am I telling you this? Because I am liking the idea of looking at world events and making predictions. That is something I actually enjoy. I can't predict your particular life. I can say your sign, right? Sun, moon, and rising. But this is something I can actually work with because it's happening in the front of all of our eyes, and I can make stories about it and see how right I am. Like I've been saying forever, Prince Charles going down. I don't see Biden making it to the election. I've been saying that for 2 years, this next election. So the reason I'm telling you this now, or bringing this up, like a little confessional for Lori, is I get sometimes some comments, you know, about this kind of content that I provide, especially when people say that I'm biased, and I am biased. I pretend I have a tendency to not prefer genocide. So I do have an emotional bias as a human being. I'm not just neutral all the time. But I was trained as a journalist. I worked as a remote viewer and a psychic, and this brings me joy. So if that kind of content doesn't work for you, right? If you don't like to look at the world through the lens of mundane astrology, then it's okay. There's so many astrology channels that just tell you happy stories about your life, full of rainbows and unicorns, or ascension, and you know all of that stuff. And that's not me. So you know, choose your astro fam. You know, go where you're happy. And if you think I'm biased in this story, you know, it's tough being someone who has a prophetic asteroid on her ascendant. I said so many things about the COVID story that all came true. The lab leak and all of that. I predicted it based on astrology and just anyone's normal intuition or common sense, right? And many other stories that have since been proven to be true. But when I announced them, nobody likes a prophet, right? And nobody does. When I announced them, I got so much negative feedback, so much troll energy at me. How dare I be a conspiracy theorist? You know, I was not a conspiracy theorist. I was looking at the asteroids, the stars, the planets, and I was using my own intuition to say, yeah, this is a lab leak from China. And many other things, you know, that turn out to be true later on, but I am absolutely hated on in the moment of speaking the truth or the potential for a truth, because I'm not always right. Give me a break. Okay, that's my off my pulpit. Let's go ahead and look at the sky. Let's get into the details here. I've taken out everything that is not necessary. And that is because anything that's not participating in this event isn't necessarily useful. I'm even going to move Chiron. I forgot to get rid of him. We're narrowing down the focus of what this Cazimi is engaging in the heavens. So I want you to see the simplicity of the story and how it might impact you and how it might impact the world. So this is what we call a Cazimi, 9 degrees and 14 minutes. 9 degrees and 14 minutes is Mercury perfectly in the heart of the sun around 10:42 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's West Coast, Canada, USA, February the 28th. Adjust for your time zone using Google. And Saturn is within a close proximity, and they're all in what we call a technical like a really Cazimi, because there's different kinds of Cazimis, but this is certainly like not sort of close, but not quite. This is like, you know, within a minute, within a degree, they're all together in the sky. I mean, within a degree, you know, within 60 minutes or a degree clustered together. This is the asteroid here for Gonggong, the sea serpent that caused destruction in ancient Chinese mythology. He's associated with things like tsunamis and typhoons and water events, and maybe even, because he's in water right now, the hardship and water stories that I've been talking about since Saturn and Gonggong have been tracking each other. Okay, last year and this year. So we saw submersible Titanic implosion. We saw Fukushima put the radiation water back into the ocean, apparently clean. We see the Houthis defending the Red Sea, etc. That again is water hardship narratives. But I'm not liking having this long-standing Gonggong Saturn combination, which is hardship or difficulty in water environments. So again, we may see some of that story playing out around to the 28th, 29th of February. This is the asteroid Icarus, who fell from the sky. His father, Daedalus, was an inventor and made some wings that were made of wax. Daedalus, in his hubris and pride, soared to that top of the sky and melted and fell. Now, there's a lot about not accepting one's limitations, which is collaborative with the actual Sabian symbol that also suggests rising above one's limitations. So you can look at it like how you want to have escape velocity from Earth and reach for the heavens like a god would do, or like, a higher level being. And I think that's hopeful. The only caution is, of course, what are your wings made out of? You can't afford to rise to the heavens in waxy wings. You must figure out what won't melt in the heart of the sun. So looking for ways you can rise to great heights without melting and falling from the sky. In the real world, of course, Icarus is going to be in the heart of the sun, which represents kings and leaders, and his wings can melt. And that could indicate literally there's a news story around February 28th, give or take a day, of a melting world leader, somebody going down, falling from power. This melting waxy wings story for a world leader can be any world leader, honestly. It isn't a sextile to King Charles and Joe Biden's moon, which can indicate issues with their health, but sextile means it's good to fall from the sky because you really aren't comfortable there anyway, and you want to get down out of the heights because perhaps it's not serving you or anyone else. That's a possibility. I can tell you that this asteroid over here, which is called Pholus, is very much about that domino effect, where something that's very small, seemingly incidental, can cascade into a snowball effect. It has to do with a centaur who basically started a war by just opening a bottle of wine, nothing big, but look what happened. Prince Harry's woman. Oh, brain come online. You guys know the actress, right? Oh, anyway. King Harry's woman, the actress, has Pholus on her midheaven, which is a marriage point, by the way. And by marrying and getting into the royal family, the cascade effect was the abdication of Harry from the royal family, which has been something very unique for a child of the royal family to say, hi, I'm out of here, right? So you can see all kinds of ways that also her reality would have cascaded from an intersection of destiny that led to a snowball effect that was beyond her own scope of her smaller life. And it'll come to me, her name, halfway through this recording. This is Ceres. She can be like a scythe that cuts, ends, and severs. So some people go, oh, yeah, she's the goddess of the harvest. She's about, the cycles of the winter and the fall. She can be a rescuing mother. She can bring, fruitfulness. Yes. But she also brings barrenness, just so you remember, right? When she was sad because Persephone was abducted, her daughter, by Pluto into the rapey underworld, she stopped letting anything grow and there was famine. So she has both a dark and a light side. And Ceres here with Pholus can be a domino effect of some sort relating to the part of the sky. This is your mundane astrology report. That is Capricorn. Capricorn in the United States has to do the economics of the United States as a Sag rising and the money and the fiscal stories of the United States. But in the chart, say, of Israel, it is the fourth house of home, homeland, and property, where, of course, everything is going on in a defense, so to speak, or an offense regarding land and property and neighbors' property at that. And so we're seeing a very intense energy of something domino affecting in the news cycle, perhaps, sextile Mercury, some small event, maybe involving a fall of a leader, having a domino effect around February 27th to the 29th that can cascade out into something much larger. Now, in another way too, seeing Ceres here, because she is in Capricorn, a sign that has to do with money, commerce, stock markets, and all of that, there may be some kind of domino effect event in those kinds of places of Wall Street, stocks, economics, because you can see that there is also Jupiter getting into the mix. Now, Jupiter here is a good guy. He's in Taurus. Uranus is with him. I forgot to leave Uranus in there. Let me put Uranus back. Just because it's good to remind ourselves that we've got a little shock and awe and unexpected surprise going on when Jupiter's hanging. And Jupiter's hanging out here in Venus's house. Venus is busy in Aquarius. I didn't really want to put her in because it's not the main story. But hey, guys, Jupiter, goodness, prosperity, wealth, and abundance in a beautiful flowing relationship to the 9-degree triple Cazimi, also in a flowing relationship to trine to Ceres, the domino effect asteroid, as well as the harvest and reaping the fruits of something, looks like a mini grand trine, which brings luck and opportunity. And if we were to include Juno, we're going to look at this as a kite right here. So what to say about that? Let me annotate so you can see Juno at 14 degrees. She's retrograding, moving towards Ceres. And on this thing, these two are hanging out here. and we have the formation of a kite. Now, that's an interesting thing. This is a 9 degrees Mercury, Sun, and Saturn, right? 9 degrees, and that's 14. So within 5 degrees, that is the actual kite we're seeing. The software sometimes won't delineate minor asteroids effectively in my AstroGold software. So we also have a kite embedded within our Cazimi Day event, which is to bring something to success or achievement or accomplishment. But a kite flies high in the sky, as does Icarus with world leader. So again, does a world leader fly high to the sky and succeed, or does a world leader fly high and melt? What is going on here? Solar energy and Jupiter can be about leaders. Little shocking, surprising developments. Finally, before we talk about your sign and that, don't forget to check out that webinar. This is a strategic Athena, wisdom, knowledge, strategy. She's also the goddess of war in terms of trying to create victory in war in the ancient realm. She's also Minerva and Athena, same goddess, Roman and Greek. Athena is knowing that she has a warrior energy or part to do with victory in war. She happens to be in a difficult conversation with this Cazimi called a square. Now that can indicate, especially in Sagittarius, which rules missiles, as that also rules bows and arrows, some kind of downfall or difficulty with a situation to do with war. Again, because this part of the sky represents the home and land and property of Israel, its homeland, that is going to catapult into the sky stories around the 27th, 28th, and the 29th in a square, a challenging or, intense way. Sagittarius is the ascendant sign for Joe Biden, for the USA in its Sibley natal chart, and for the chart of Netanyahu. So if there's going to be something difficult happening, it can be involving any of those characters on the world stage. You might notice that I'm preoccupied with this war right now because it is the main story. If the main story was something else, like a sex scandal, which could happen, by the way, with a Pluto-Venus conjunction coming up and Mars there in the next couple of weeks. But we're getting so tired of sex scandals, we really are bored with them, right? The last big one was, what's his name? The British podcaster, Russell Brand. And I put a video out on that, and it was getting really bad algorithmic suppression by YouTube, so I took it down. But, if you're my Patreon community, you'd have access to that. This story is like somebody's going down. This is strategic warrior victory war goddess taken down. I don't know which world leader, but it's a square, so it's not easy, right? It's difficult in your own life. In your own life, this is a very positive Cazimi. I mean, honestly, you're not going to war. You're not a general. You're not a nation, right? You're having this wish come true, rise above your limitations, domino effect of goodness. We're going to talk about your sky in a very positive light. Okay, so let's get going on the all signs. Alrighty, and one more thing before I get the all signs done. I want to mention that in Renn Butler's The Archetypal Universe, he does talk about what happens when Mercury and Saturn are collaborating, because they are in a conjunction, which means they're fusing their energy fields together. They're working as a union of energy, and they're trying to be on board, right? It's like if you were, I don't know if there's a good human analogy, if you were to enmesh yourself in a Vulcan mind meld or something and to understand each other, good old Star Trek Spock, this would be sort of like doing a Vulcan mind meld between the planet Saturn in Pisces, where he will be until February of 26, got there last March, and of course, good old messenger of the gods, dream maker, mercantile marketing and selling Mercury. So here's the energy, of the Renn Butler. This is his book right here, Renn Butler. Renn Butler, when he talks about Mercury and Saturn in a connection to each other, both the shadow side and the easier side, we want to cover all grounds, right? Because sometimes, conjunctions can be hard aspects. They're almost like their own thing, honestly. I don't see them looking like squares or oppositions or anything else. But this is what Mercury and Saturn does. Okay, here we go. Let me get some light on my situation. All right. Mercury Saturn. Gifts of mental focus and discipline. And this is a Cazimi. It's kind of baking in the next week, 6 weeks after, as Saturn becomes visible and we feel the after effects. Gifts of mental focus and discipline. Careful thoughts and speech. brevity and understatement, common sense and realism. That's the positive. The shadow would be tendencies toward worry and pessimism, limited and narrow perspectives, and a cynical or pragmatic attitude. A great quote for anything to do with this would be something like, he's got some great quotes for people born with it. Nothing is more dangerous than an idea when you only have one idea. Ooh, I like that. When humor goes there, goes civilized. When humor goes there, goes civilization. Mercury rules comedy. When humor goes there, goes civilization. And yeah, I like that quote. Nothing is more dangerous than an idea when you only have one. Limitations on ideas. Saturn limits Mercury's ideas. Okay, so let's get going and talk about your sign. Don't forget, listen for your rising first, sun and moon secondarily. If you don't know why, listen to the beginning of the video. We're starting, as always, with Aries. And I forgot to tell you that Saturn will be invisible until April, early April. So we're going to say that basically some of what we're embedding into this particular Cazimi, because Saturn is engendered or agreeing or mind melding with it, you may see some of the bigger results in your individual lives or in the world at large, the good results we want from that star. Oh, the star. I forgot to tell you about the star and the good results we want from the asteroids as we move towards the spring. So consider that a possibility. I wanted to tell you about the wish upon a star, and I can't believe the star. I almost forgot to say what was going on there. So the star is a wish star, and it's called Skat, Skat. And it's in the Aquarius system, okay? Although we're looking at Pisces in the Western tropical zodiac, in terms of the sidereal or real sky, it's actually a star that's in Aquarius. So it's a wish star in Aquarius. It's a lucky star. The best wishes come true. Lucky for any truth seeker. It grants psychic potential. It's good for scholars and mystics, and it can include things moving at warp speed, and it can also be about the intellect. Be cautious that you don't just dream it, but do it. That's what the software is telling me. That's what I'm telling you. Don't just dream it, do it. So this is a star to make a wish, and it's lucky, but don't just dream it, do it. So I'm really excited about this webinar. I can't wait to teach it. I'm going to really dive deep into the archetype of the Aquarius mythology because of all the planets over there, but also where the star sits in the real sky. It's going to be really, really intense and positive. So let's get over to you. Don't forget, like, subscribe. If you're in the live premiere, please hit that good old notifications bell. It helps me grow. And I'm really delighted that my channel, after having a really sludgy December actually, is back into the swing. And I'm at, like, I don't know, 3,500, 4,000 subscribers in the last 28 days, 4,000 subscribers. Thank you to all of you. You make me want to do this job. You make me excited. I do read almost all of my comments. I don't everyone, I can't now, but I read quite a lot of them. I heart, I like, and I will reply, especially if you make a thoughtful comment, right? Or I think I have something to say about your comment. So I'm an engaged astrologer. I'm not just like, I don't know why people do that. They say, tell me what you think below. And then I never see them like their comments. One of my favorite astrologers who does do a lot of dynamic liking and commenting over time has been Maren Altman and even Astrolada. So these are some of my favorite other colleagues of mine. So here we have February 28th, and we're looking at Aries. Don't forget, adjust for your time zone. Give it a good old, as I said earlier, 10 hours on either side of the exact Cazimi. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the beginning. If you want to do magic, wait till Mercury's on the other side of the sun, not entering into it. Okay, so here we have the natal chart of Aries, sun, moon, and rising. I mean, just a delineation. Remember, this is general bell curve astrology. I can't give you your natal life. Your real chart is your real chart. This is a general trend line. You can be an outlier. It can be a very lucky sky for some Aries, for example, and it might be suck ass for you. So just remember that. Let's go. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is the sky happening on the 28th or 29th of February. Adjust for your time zone. I mean, whatever. It could be the 27th or 28th. Adjust for your time zone. Brain come online, right? You know what I mean? This is literally a very profound place for your inner life. You could have the dream of a century. You could download a whatever you're into, a best-selling novel, a screenplay, how to hack quantum gravity, how to create a sustainable energy from the quantum field or the quantum foam or the 0 point field. I'm not joking you. So if you're an Aries, because you are pioneering and you are willing to do it and boldly go where no one's gone before, then this energy is in your 12th house, where you dream at night, you have insights, you have meditations and reveries, where you may also experience yourself doing a deep amount of soul work. I would really advise all Aries to take that day of the 28th Cazimi and really use it, really harness this Cazimi for your highest good. You can definitely journal, meditate, vision board. This is great for vision boarding as well, because it's going to put you in that very dream it into being trance-like quality of Pisces, and 12th house matters. Because this is a news story, whoosh, cycling through, because Mercury brings just insights and news, you could hear from a foreign country person or foreign entity, some kind of exciting news coming through the 28th on a more practical note. Now, if you do revenue generation from foreign shores and lands, such as I do, anyone who does online businesses has, the PayPal, Stripe life, digital nomad, this is exceptionally positive for that as well. Honestly, it can definitely look like you're going to get some kind of financial insight, financial download, and maybe financial lift over the course of the couple months that follow the Cazimi. One other part of this Cazimi that I'm really liking for you is this is a kite in this story, right? Let's talk about the mini grand trine to start off. What are you trying to do in an insider download or something with foreign lands and revenue, or getting rid of self-undoing and addictions that allows you to flow into greater financial goodness and resourcefulness in your life, while also having turning point domino effect events cascade from this Cazimi to career harvest or reapings or positivity. Now, a domino effect with Ceres can also be cut, end, and sever some part of your career for something better to flourish, but they're having some career changes matched with some monetary changes that this unfolds not just on the 28th, 29th kind of thing, but also maybe over the 6 weeks that follow as well. And Saturn up to early April as well. There's the kite that's held at the bottom by Juno, the goddess of partnership, in the house of your work, the house of your livelihood, the house of your, what you do. This can indicate partnering up with others, but even with this kite, getting a new contract agreement from a domino effect for a new work position that brings greater prosperity to the lives of you Arians. I do want to say, just watch out a little bit from the difficulty from Athena, where you may think you're making a strategic move to do with visas, passports, higher education, book publishing, but there's a square and you need to really work with it in terms of being more critical around the decisions you're making and the actions you're going to take regarding foreign shores, foreign lands, and foreign countries. I mean, using me as an Aries sun and moon, I've been pondering moving to Portugal or some other country with a better tax rate than 53%, which I'm heading into at this point in my career. And I don't want to give the government 53%. And if you incorporate in Canada, then you still have to pay the government basically the same amount when you take the money out of the incorporation for personal use. It's a bummer. Right? We're a highly socialized country, not getting the benefits from it because we have a homing crisis with unaffordable homes and not enough homes. And we have a healthcare crisis with not enough doctors or nurses. So you're paying for all of the stuff you're not getting. Canada is disappointing for most people when they immigrate here and they realize now what is actually going on. All righty, let's move to Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Here we have this profound Cazimi to rise to new heights above your limitations, get a big view, and wish upon a star and make those dreams real. So don't forget, I introduced the star Skat right here, right at 9 degrees. It's a perfect lineup. Holy man. And you're looking at the possibility here of something good happening in Pisces, which is your 11th house of good spirit, flowing directly to you as a Taurus being. You are particularly lucky, auspicious, magnanimous, and successful as Jupiter moves through your natal first house and gives you the gifts of greater hope, optimism, abundance, and pure luck. You are very lucky until the last week of May, as you have this Jupiter blessing, and Jupiter blessing you in unexpected ways that bring you greater freedom flows to the place of great gains and earnings from your career, or to greater groups of friends and friendships and belonging, or to fame. This could bring a little bit of fame over the long course if that's something you're looking for. And this can also bring you into a deeper connection in a lucky way with your true goals, dreams, and wishes. 11th house matters for your life. I like the fact that you have that wish fulfillment star in a wish fulfillment house with Jupiter playing fairy godfather. So I know a Taurus who's asking for, better friendships, right? So that person, is looking to expand their friendships into people that bring them, something more positive. So that would be a great example. The 11th house is elder sibling and a deeper and more profitable investment connection to an elder sibling. And people in places of power, especially with Saturn, can look upon you with favors and dispensations to be very benefactor-like towards you in this particular time. Might note that this mini grand trine involves this domino effect in the 11th house with Ceres, which can bring a sense of a reaping or harvesting. You might be reaping or harvesting something in an academic setting, a foreign travel setting, or a legal matter that involves courts that can domino effect into some success in your 11th house. With the asteroid Juno holding the bottom of the kite in your 5th house, some of this is just pure luck upon luck, but the 5th house represents entrepreneurship, creativity, procreativity, and romantic love. If you're single and this is kicking into the sky, just maybe some of you might find a new romantic love life story percolating through the house of friends and into partnering up in a more committed love in the wake of this Cazimi. I think that Athena in her square, right, is sort of pushing you to look at your inheritance money, the money you share with your partner, the money you get, chunky money in the 8th house, really to do with, non-earned income, and how that is applying to some decision-making needs, right? You could actually create a T-square here. What kinds of decisions do you need to make around children, around money that you need for children, money shared with a romantic partner? What kind of actions do you need to take also in your career path to create greater financial gain so that you can also level up in your financial long-range monies, like your 401k and your savings and all of those things. Okay. Let's move into the next sign. Well, I want to add one more thing, Taurus. You do have Venus moving through your 10th house right now, right, with Pluto. And these could be like dream opportunities for a great job coming through in this window of time at the end of February. So look for that opportunity as well, because Venus exalts your 11th house and she owns you. And so there can be some raise, promotion, or positivity around work and finances. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. You've got this sky story in your house of career and reputation where there is a reset button of Mercury in the heart of the sun with Lord Saturn. Don't forget, Lord Saturn can deliver more results in April when he's visible after he's getting his mission instructions. So don't look for everything to happen on the February 28th timeframe. But if you want to download something important, or there's important news or information or emails or phone calls happening regarding career stuff, or if you're a messenger in your career, oh my God, what a great day to put out something very important that really matters to you. So I have a progressed sun in Gemini, so it'd be good for me to release something into my YouTube channel on the Cazimi. You'll see a lot of astrologers putting stuff out on the 28th. Trust me on that, in order to harness this Cazimi for auspicious elections. And it's good to ask your boss for something favorable if you want to do that as well, if you have a boss. Now, in this part of the sky, you could have this like tendency, because a wish upon a star, to make a wish for what you want in your career, but also make sure that you're going to do what it takes to follow through in this lucky star, Skat. Why is Icarus falling from the sky? Sometimes I think this archetype can mean like going beyond your limitations and pushing to a higher level than the ordinary mortal. But just be careful that you don't push so high that you have a consequence and you fall. And I would say, technically, the domino effect is in play. Something you reach for at the top of the sky, Gemini, in your career and reputation and purpose can lead to some harvesting and reaping of financial goodness in the house of credit cards, mortgages, banks, taxes, and finance. This kite flows to Juno in the 4th house. This can look like contracts, agreements, and vows to do with property, home, land, and real estate, or with some kind of agreement with a family member, or somebody you live with, some kind of agreement, vow, collaboration in and from your home that leads to a greater career direction of success. Kites lifting off in your career success house. You need to be strategic. This is your audience. This is your marketplace. This is your clients. This is your main squeeze partner, business partners as well. And you want to use strategy in order to succeed and how you reach that marketplace. With Athena square this Cazimi and also falling from the sky, be cautious. I just got a warning note from somebody that I should be careful about how much I talk about world events that are horrific and atrocious, because I might end up getting some kind of, it's going to kick me in the butt kind of vibe. And I do recognize that. The last thing I need is for someone to, get some kind of complaint that I get demonetized or pulled off of YouTube. I just have to, because I'm a progressive Gemini sun, be very careful about speaking truth to power, so to speak. Next. Oh, wait. Jupiter and Uranus. Revenue generated from foreign shores, international revenue, or things to do with backroom deals and negotiations, supporting some success on the 28th and beyond, as emails, phone calls, and news stories support a lift into career success, not just around the 28th, but into April, especially in April when Saturn becomes visible and can add goodness to the story. We'll be talking more about Saturn when he's more visible, because I would like to delineate that from when it's happening in April. So that's why liking and subscribing gets you all the news that's fit to print and helps you keep track of the sky. All righty. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. In the sky, you have this kite lifting off into your 9th house. Certainly good for travel to foreign countries. It's really wonderful for success from this Cazimi to do with book publishing and also legal matters to do with courts. Also things to do maybe with higher education or third marriages. Also your spiritual philosophy. Certainly don't forget, a Cazimi is a downloadable, right? And Saturn is wisdom and sagacity. So some of you may be really downloading some sagacity here, some wisdom intuitively through your dreams. Mercury brings dreams. This is flowing to you in a water trine. It benefits you greatly. If you are into writing, you're an author, and I have a couple of clients and friends who are Cancer rising writers, authors. This is going to be a great success in the agent publishing, book publishing, contract energy. So Mercury rules contracts and news. So you may get some kind of great lucky news. If you're not at that stage of your journey through writing and publishing, then it can be a good time to put your wish into effect about what you really want, with Skat very active as the wish fulfillment star. And hey, I mean, contracts and agreements in the 3rd house can look like a writing contract, but it's also, 3rd house is writing and communicating, but the 3rd house can also be some kind of vow, contract, or agreement you're going to make with a sibling, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a neighbor, a neighborhood person as well in this Cazimi energy. I do want to say that you're getting luck from Jupiter, and Jupiter's in the house that has to do with luck, in the sense of it's a house of good spirit and often can bring some kind of financial windfall. Jupiter up here would also say help from friends or elder siblings that really helps you succeed in 9th house matters. If you want to go back to school, maybe a sibling gives you some money or a referral. If you want to get accepted at a school, you might get that acceptance. If you want to get into a book publishing deal, yay you. If you want to get a trip to a foreign country going off, Mercury is a protector traveler, a patron of travelers, protecting them on the pilgrimage roads and keeping them safe. And so this could indicate an opportunity to come to some sibling agreements around travel, younger and elder siblings, and as well some insights about where that trip should be. I have 2 sisters, and my one sister is Cancer rising. This is probably the sister's trip we're trying to organize, coming to a conclusion about what we're doing. And over here, Ceres is like, okay, you need to reap some harvest in audience, client, and marketplace and marital land, but some things could domino effect here for you. Some small developments with one client. It could be like that one client, one customer, one audience member, or one thing that your spouse or partner says that dominoes you down a rabbit hole of positive new directions when it comes to your career stuff. I mean, your 9th house stuff. Finally, you are strategically trying to develop some thing that you want to do regarding Athena in your 6th house of work and health, because Athena here can be literally embedding more knowledge and wisdom in what is essentially an office space. I think some of you might be looking at what you really want to do strategically in your work as it aligns with your deeper purpose as a part of what this Cazimi is offering you. So consider that kind of story more subtle and more about deeper insights into dharmic actions and choices in your work. I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, let's get rolling to the next sign. It was just so darn hot in here. Look, because it's a sunny window next to me, I suppose. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I like this a lot, a lot, a lot, because we just did you and we're moving past you. Yes, Lori's just remembering where she left off. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It's all about the chunky money, right? This is your eighth house where you're going to try to get unearned income. Yeah, inheritances, tax rebates, insurance payouts, stipends and grants, royalty income, severance package monies. Here comes a chunk of money. Inheritances, of course, money that you don't have to, work for directly. And in this regard, you have a download, insight, or new beginning, a reset button in a very rare, rare way, because not only we have the wish fulfillment star for your chunky money, we also have the thing that Saturn does, which brings stability financially. You could be coming down with a plan for a lasting and solvent and strategic and wonderful new financial plan for your life. Definitely with, the asteroid Icarus, you might try to reach past your former limitations in your longer range monies. I also like this idea here with Jupiter in the 10th house. Money and career matters are both in alignment. Things you're doing in the visible world, in your career and in your reputation, support this greater financial goodness where, yes, money can make money as well. If you're an occultist doing anything supernatural, mysterious, magical, or tarot, that kind of thing, this could be downloading a new paranormal, occult, mystery, magic type of thing that you wish to do in your career and apply that liberally. I think with Skat up here, a wish fulfillment can look like a vision board for you guys on your treasure chest, dreams and goals for long range financial security. Having the Kite, right? The Kite anchored by Juno, it's good to think about partnering up financially in work matters with somebody else that benefits your career. Now, you're not doing it alone, but this can be a career opportunity to sign a new agreement, a new job opportunity, in essence, coming through the sky, not just on the Cazimi, but in the time that follows up to 6 weeks after. With this, what do you wish to reap, harvest? What do you wish to bring bounty and fruitfulness to in the work and health part of your life? Especially given that you have Pholus, one small change in your work routines, one small change in your job setting, one small change in your health matters and routines can benefit everything, and especially that career and long-range finances. Be strategic around your children, especially as it comes to money, especially when it comes to romantic partners and lovers and money, entrepreneurial business, fifth house, and money. This is where you need a strategic look at it in order to make sharp decisions. I think you may have an insight from Mercury here about a dead person. I talk to dead people, says Mercury in the eighth house. Therefore, look for downloads, insights, messages, and dreams of someone who's passed, trying to give you guidance on the 28th, give or take a day on either side. Got a little bit of sweet paranormal magic for a lot of you Leos who are into that kind of thing. With Athena in your fifth house, if it is a financial issue to do with a lover or a child, you have to come up with a strategy to deal with it. And Saturn is the long game strategy, the long tail strategy of financial situations regarding a child or situation with a child. Okay, Leos? Virgo, sun, moon, and rising, surrounded by Virgos, and my daughter, my best friend, my son. And so you guys are having a lot going on to do with a Cazimi that's quite rare, to wish fulfill, to strategically think out new strategies to do with your long-term committed love stories. This is like your marriage house. And so it doesn't have to be a legal marriage. You're committed, you're monogamous, you're cohabitating, you're together, it's your person. And all of a sudden there's a Cazimi over here with Saturn, who's been giving you a lot of intensity in that relationship since last March, and will continue to kind of pressure this relationship to sink or swim in Pisces. Is this a life raft with a leak, or is this a sailing ship that will thrive? That's the question for you guys for your relationship. And you're making that decision between March of 2023 and February of 2026. So with Saturn here in the longer story, all of a sudden we see this glimmer of insight or breakthrough of some sort. With Mercury in the heart of the sun, expect some conversation or news or developments in a primary significant relationship in your life around the 28th, but also unfolding through to April as Saturn becomes visible. Skat is wishing upon a star, wishing upon the star that can confer those wishes when you take the actions to follow your wish. What is it that you want to see happen in your long-term committed love story? Now, yes, it can apply to business partnerships, audience, marketplace, but it certainly is a love story house. So what is it you want to see come into being? What is your deeper wish? Don't discard that part of the sky. It's very practical here that you or your partner can have a very powerful conversation or insight regarding what you want to create together in a collaboration. Let's face it, Virgo, you're seeing the world through the divorce and marriage goddess eyeballs of Juno in Virgo. And so she's really stepping up for you and saying, I want to know what to do here. Is this a committed place for me, or is this a place where I need to be separating? And at the same time, if you're single, of course, you may still be looking at the life through the lens of, I want my partner. And maybe this is going to be some communication or insight or developments that can bring that person to you over the course of the couple months that follow. Who knows? Venus is in the Aquarius part of your sky, and she's in a dating house at this time by transit. So you could be opening up to some new dating opportunity. With Jupiter on the crossbar of the Kite in the house of foreign shores, foreign lands, spirituality, faith, book publishing, and academics, there also can be legal agreements and contracts regarding courts and legal matters coming through the chart connected to you or your main squeeze partner. This could be something like your main squeeze gets a job in a foreign country and you'll have to look at visas. This could be you want to plan a trip to a foreign shore with your main partner, and it's going to support the relationship. You want to harvest and reap something, but also a domino effect in the house of romantic love and sexuality and fertility and children. So here you could say something like a turning point in a significant love story can happen as one small change in your romantic and sexual connection unfolds something very positive. Maybe if it's about a child or an entrepreneurial business, for example, you're looking at legal matters and contracts and agreements regarding that business, or for your child, developments for them regarding higher education and things that could lead to contracts and agreements for them, not just about you, like they get accepted at their favorite school. With Athena, she's asking you to be very strategic in how you do things in and from your home, including real estate property matters. She's like a tactician here. And so things to do with your marriage partner or significant other or business partner and the home and home life must be looked at really strategically over the course of the next couple of months after this Cazimi. When Saturn is visible in April, there may be very firm plans and structures put in place regarding home, relationship, foreign travel, and children. All right, these things will emerge. I don't know, with having, the asteroid here for melting wings as you reach for the sun, this may not be you. Maybe your partner's reaching for some new limit or expression of a new height in their life, and they may reach it or they may fall, Mercury can definitely bring the news about legal contracts, important information from a client, or important discussions or insights from your significant other on that Cazimi of February 28th, give or take a day on either side. Hey, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign, what are you going to do? You guys have a huge pile up and a Cazimi of Venus and the Sun and Mercury on the 28th of February in your sixth house of work. Mostly it's work, usually like the office, the colleagues, the coworkers, but it can involve rental contracts, especially in a sextile to Ceres and the house of rental contracts and agreements regarding property and residence. Maybe also decisions being made or insights regarding the decision to have a pet. With this energy also connected to your health and health routines, some of you Libras may have an insight, a download, or a new aha about how to better improve your health. If you're working too hard because you're reaching for the sun, maybe pull it back a bit. Skat is saying, what are your deepest dreams and wishes for your health, for pets, for rental situations, and for work and work opportunities and developments? I think also when you see this Jupiter loving you up in the eighth house of chunky money, inheritances, a lot of you are looking at the potential of an inheritance coming through the sky, or unexpected chunk of money and bounty coming to you by the end of May in an unexpected way that could help you lift off a little bit here in terms of your work and career and health. If you want to sell a property, of course, Jupiter here and Ceres, the end and cutting, and the domino effect is that something happens small around the Cazimi of February 28th, for example. You're not thinking of selling your property, but someone knocks on your door and they say, I have a friend who wants to buy it at twice the market value. And you're like, oh my God, really? Well, I think I'll take it. So there may be some small event, some curious conversation at home, close to home, near your home, that leads to some new opportunity to rent a property or sell a property or buy a property for a lot of Libra sun, moon, and rising sign. Because you have Juno, the goddess of contracts, in the house of far off foreign places, a work opportunity in a far off foreign place, a real estate opportunity in a far off foreign place. These are possibilities, or a travel opportunity with a partner in life or love to far off foreign places emerging for you near and around February 28th. You want to be strategic with Athena here. She's in your third house of travel and trips. And because of the connection of her to Juno in the 12th, some strategic decisions might need to be made, travel plans booked or planned sometime around February 28th regarding a travel opportunity, especially with a love or business partner, especially involving foreign shores. On the other hand, hey, you have skill-based learning in the third house, websites, writing projects. Athena is book goddess herself. So some of you may be looking at strategic opportunities regarding book connections, especially if it's publishing with Mercury and the Cazimi ruling your ninth house. So there's a lot going on here, many different ways it could play out. But those are some of the potentials. Please come to my webinar. I think you'll enjoy it. We'll be going deeper than we can do here and helping you really get the most out of this important and rare event. Check the description box for the webinar. Sign up. It's free. All right, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising. Let's roll. I need a sip of my water, and then we'll get going. Okay, Scorpios, in your sky, you've got this energy of a very, very rare Cazimi. Saturn, Sun, co-joining together, mashing it up in your fifth house of romantic love, creativity, entrepreneurship, the arts, your children, fertility, and pregnancy. Now, with Jupiter involved in a sextile, this can look like something very positive happening in a marriage or committed love relationship, and maybe not just for you, but for your partner. And Jupiter here sextiling this lovely Cazimi could be your partner has some really good news around our entrepreneurial, creative projects or fertility. On the other hand, hey, if you're an artist and you're producing creative muse-driven content, the fifth house, Jupiter can be some lucky break with the audience, public, or marketplace, especially with the domino effect asteroid in the house of social media, websites, and blogs, and all the social media platforms. Neptune rules music, videography, screenplays, really good for any of you writing projects involve storytelling, really good for all of you Scorpios in that regard. Now, I kind of would also say you're trying to reach to new limits, and Skat allows you on the 28th, if you desire to dream into being, make a wish. What do you want in your romance? Children, entrepreneurial, creative, procreative house. What do you want to have happen? Now, the kite that's forming, of course, right, is formed by a handhold of Juno. So Juno can be an elder sibling in the house of elder siblings, benefactors and allies, people who want to help you, partner up with you, team up with you, maybe something to do with a friend or a social group and some kind of desire to make a vow or agreement or contract with those people. So there's a lot of things to do with maybe just the lucky energy of the 11th, 5th house axis, making this kite on Skat extremely lucky for you. 11th house could be a public renown and fame. Maybe something's going to bring a contract to you because something's going to make you very well seen in the world. Certainly the sun rules the 10th house of your most visible reputation, where it is meeting with Mercury. And Saturn says you've been working hard at something. You've been working hard at pregnancy, romance, creativity, entrepreneurship, writing projects, whatever. You've been working hard, and now there's going to be a payoff. The domino effect, though, it's third house, right? One thing you say in the neighborhood, one thing you do in the neighborhood, one thing you put online, one thing you do with a younger sibling, one thing you do to put something into communications forms can have a very powerful and positive rollout, domino snowball in this story. Be more strategic around your earnings and money that you're making, as Athena is helping you devise three-dimensional chess strategies for how you wish to be more attendant in a wise and wisdom-oriented knowledgeable way regarding your earnings and spending patterns and habits. She's squaring the fifth house of pleasures, and it may be a pullback on spending just for fun and pleasure, but she's also strategic about earnings. And because the sun is in a Cazimi and rules your career, the strategic question is, how is your career and your career earnings going to have to be attended to in more of a planning way for the long run success you want to achieve? Because Saturn says, let's go for the long tail, the distance, the enduring strategy. Sometimes Athena looks like lawyers, and in the second house, it can be getting some legal advice or some, that kind of advice around the earnings narrative. Especially with Mercury here, ruling the eighth house of chunky money. There's something about financial strategy for some of you Scorpios being very much in the air around the 28th, but also up to April, and when we begin to see Saturn become visible. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, a Cazimi in your fourth house, whole sign fourth house. This is like, are you going to reset your home, your property, where you live, your domicile, your private life in a huge way? And because the Cazimi has Saturn, you might have felt alone or lonely or constrained or restricted in your home and private life ever since last March. And now we have a breakthrough, perhaps. What do you wish for, Sagittarius, to have happen? What kind of dream home? What kind of dream domestic environment? What kind of dream life are you having? What do you want? Because this star Skat can indicate the ability to plant a seed of a wish that can come true for you here. And certainly Saturn is trying to make your wishes true with Neptune, and you've been wondering where your ideal dream home is since 2011. With Icarus, maybe there's a tendency to want to rise above your limitations within a constraining home situation, but maybe it's not so much that you can't rise above them, but you don't find it satisfying. So you could be living in a difficult home life situation, and you might not be able to always just rise above it. Your wings may melt. Somebody Saturn here is an elder in the home, right? Like maybe a parent that's aging out or grandparent, and that can be also just a challenge. Within the context of a new beginning or a reset on the 28th in the property, home, and land and real estate, with Jupiter sextiling from the 6th, it could be an opportunity to rent a property or bring a pet into the house that's going to bring you more satisfaction. And not just on the Cazimi of February 28th, but as I keep saying, into April, 6 weeks and into April, because we're waiting for what Saturn wants you to do as he becomes visible. Unexpected developments in your work and connection to your home life, those two things, work and home, in a positive way, want to show up here as well. What are you doing here with a domino effect in the money and spending and earnings house with Ceres? It could be that you're going to make a change, cut away, and a spending or earnings path, and that one small change domino effects into something very good to do with your success at home. What I see with a kind of a contracts, vows, and agreements, Juno in the 10th house of career, flowing to Jupiter Uranus in the house of work, is some of you, if you're in the workforce, are going to have some kind of breakthrough developments here and new beginnings regarding work and an enhancement of things you do in and from your home connected to your work or your reputation. Literally, we'll see, I kind of like the fact that you have a domino effect in the earnings house. It's positive because it flows to Jupiter. So earnings and workflow are highlighted here. One small change in a earnings house. It looks like a new job contract for some of you, but it can be many different things that allow greater success here. Greater health as well. Jupiter is in the health house. Ceres is the goddess of food as medicine. Domino effect. One small dietary change for many of you Sagittarius, like you quit gluten or you quit legumes or, you quit some substance that's not good for you. This is going to have a real cascade of positivity in your health as a result of February 28th. Look for news and insights about potential challenges to your health that just come from the way you ingest different substances, and maybe some aren't meant for you, your body's digestive tract. You are being strategic. You are being lawyerly. You are being wise because you are Athenian right now, and you're looking at your home, your life, your rental properties, your digestive health, your food style. You're looking at everything quite strategically. This kite is mostly involved with what has been giving you a sense of loneliness, hardship, or isolation regarding home and property and land, and you're trying to make some strategic choices around new directions to go as a result of the sky on the 28th and in the 2 months that follow. Okay. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. In the sky here, you're going to have this reset button. It's very rare, right? Cazimi, Saturn, Sun, Mercury on the 28th, all bundled up together, 28th, 29th, depends on where you live, in your third house. This is a house of travel, trips, and siblings. You may have skills-based education, websites, communication, and writing projects here, and younger siblings especially. So there's a reset button for you and all of those things, but siblings categorically and generally can also just be there without it being the one younger than you. And there's a new beginning here, but you might get an email, phone call, or text message from a neighbor, a sibling, a childhood friend around the 28th. Pay attention. It's going to bring you something positive, good news. But in the long run, things don't really get full liftoff in this kite, probably till April when we see Saturn, who participated in the Cazimi, becoming visible. What wish and dreams do you want to make around skills-based education, writing projects, travel opportunities, sibling connections that want to come your way, virtue of this Cazimi? On Skat, the star of Make a Wish, Make It True. You may have felt like wings have melted here. Writing projects have been difficult. You're going beyond your limits. Communications with siblings have caused you to fall from the sky. A fallen sibling relationship, perhaps. Things here in this house definitely can involve your homeland and real estate. If you're floating, I see is in the third house for some of you. Jupiter in the fifth house, a lucky house, can bring some financial windfalls through gaming, casinos, etc., especially if it involves gaming or luck from lotteries from foreign countries other than your own natal country because of the Juno in your ninth house, or positive developments in long-term relationships that are third marriage style relationships that bring some financial money luck. Jupiter in your fifth house. Your money luck is here until the end of May. An unexpected travel plan to do with a long-term partner to a foreign land for enjoyment and pleasure can be emerging here on the 28th, 29th, and also in April, of course, as we see Saturn coming into visibility. A domino effect. You do something, scythe. You make a change. Maybe you end, cut, sever something, or you make a harvest change of some sort. A series, but you are the domino effect. It's something that Capricorn, you are choosing doing here that flows to this money luck, that flows to your children, that flows to your entrepreneurial and independent business enterprises. What is the domino effect that you're up to around February 28th and 29th? One small thing can snowball into something much more incidental than you imagine. So what phone calls, text messages, or emails? These are third house communications are coming through over the transit into your radar around the 27th, 28th, and 29th. You have a domino effect change because you responded to those messages. Juno is in the house of foreign lands, but visas and passports. And so some developments there may be emerging as well, if that involves travel opportunities and trips that you wish to take. You have to be very strategic about things to do with foreigners, foreign shores, and foreign lands. That's where Athena resides right now. And also backroom deals and negotiations regarding lawyers and strategy, especially if it involves legalese and the word foreign shores countries. Yeah, you've got to get some strategic advice or guidance or wisdom going on in this part of your sky. For the most part, this kite is going to give you some kind of opportunity that probably involves travel, and it may involve foreign places. And you'll see evidence of that by April as Saturn becomes visible. Aquarius, I am one of you. I'm an Aquarius rising. You can listen for your sun and moon as well. So in the sky, we see a Cazimi in the earnings and possessions house. This is where you save money, spend money, make money, accumulate resources and possessions that allow you to have food, shelter, and water. It serves your basic needs, basically. And it's your voice, and it's also your face, and it's also things you ingest food through your mouth. Now, Saturn's been here, Aquarians, since last March. We're ruled by Saturn. He's our lord of our sign, our primary dispositor. And what we're thinking here since last March is how to make money in a steady earning structured way that goes the distance. And it's very sensible and realistic. and also allows us to actualize some of our financial dreams, Neptune. And this is a story that continues to bake into this Cazimi. What is going on over the 6 weeks up to April that we are having a new insight download about how we wish to make our dreams real? Skat is there. Remember, make a wish about your finances. Maybe you've been going high to the sky and felt your wings melting. I can attest to that. Sure, my ad revenue is great on YouTube. Sure, I have clients at new high thresholds of prices, but it's my time, it's my vital force energy, and I may not have time to exercise as much as I would like, or to spend time with friends. So the melting wings for me, I just say, is I make a really great income. Taxes have melted my wings too. And the taxes and the pace can be me saying, oh, I made it to my highest limit. But I'm scorching in the sun and maybe I'm going to melt. So how are you as an Aquarius finding a sort of reaching for the sky, but melting your wings archetype in your earnings, possessions, and all of that? Also food styles and what you've been eating or not eating or choosing not to eat. Saturn's really good for constraining and restricting substances that go into your mouth. And that's true. You'll get better at it over the next 2 years. Now, I would say, because we have Jupiter in the 4th house and he's so lucky and he's bringing us shocking surprises here, especially around the 3rd week of April, that has to do with land, home, property, and real estate. And Juno is sitting in the mortgages and finances and banking house. For some reason, some of you may be looking at a possible opportunity to buy a house or a property or a condo or something. Really, it's kind of what it looks like. Or because Juno, the goddess of agreements and partnerships in the house of business partnerships, is saying there's a new partnership in business that can support you into increasing your financial revenue and cash flow, or you're making some kind of agreements to do with tax situations that can help you regarding land, home, property, real estate. Sometimes Jupiter, moving through the 4th house will bring you some wealth from your family of origin or your legacy wealth matters, or through a marriage partnership as well, because the sun in this Cazimi rules your house of marriage partnerships. You could say that a domino effect through your long-term, through your house of dreams at night, a self-undoing and addictions, 12th house, things to do with your revenue for foreign shores and foreign lands. Domino effect is happening here. What small change in those matters has a domino effect that improves your finances? We shall see. You want to be strategic regarding matters that are connected to your 11th house, right? So how are you going to find more friends who are allies and benefactors strategically? How are you going to make great career gains financially that are strategic, wise, and, bring that archetype of the strategist to bear for victory here? You could also look at Athena here as somebody who's Athenian, an elder sibling who's very smart, or a friend who has a strategic mind, being very much an ally and pressing and pushing you to look more clearly at how your earning structures and long-range treasure chest structures work in your life. And maybe I would also say, just to go back to this whole energy of the 2nd house, there is potentially some opportunity coming through the sky to partner with somebody from a foreign shore than your natal birthplace, that in that collaboration, you can find some financial plus points. Definitely pay attention to phone calls and emails on the 28th, 29th, but also insights and downloads that you may have about more strategic financial directions in your life. And finally, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. Let's consider this all about you. How about that? A rare Cazimi with Saturn, the sun, and Mercury in the house of your identity, your body, your sense of self, your persona. There's a new beginning and there's a real deep reset. It's powerful. And yet Saturn is invisible until April. And some of the changes we're seeing for you Pisceans here in February 28th, 29th won't be fully realized or understood until April, when we have Saturn's visibility. Saturn is making you realistic and sober-minded. He's giving you a weight and a heavy weightness that often the more flexible, adaptable, indecisive, flip-flopping fishies may not always understand to be a part of their narrative, but now you're way more Saturnian. You're looking at your life through the lens of realism, wisdom, long-range structures and strategies that can really benefit you. And all of a sudden, this Cazimi asks Saturn to jump right in. Holy man. Part of that strategy involves business partnerships and marriages as you look at the marriage goddess across the way. and you're looking at whether there's a need for a vow or a contract with some significant other that can benefit you both in the next couple of months. News and information is yours to get, divine, download, and get. You are the Mercury person. You're the one with the speech going on. You're the one sending that phone call or email out. Great time for you to actualize an important message, to say it or speak it or write it or email it on the Cazimi of the 28th. Especially it involves some conversation or messages with audience, clients, marketplace. 10th from your 10th, your 7th house, or a significant other. You're being asked to look at the bounty of your third. Is it taking workshops and classes? Is it teaching it? Is it something to do with siblings? You've got a lot of third house, 11th house sibling action here, older and younger. Some kind of bounty and goodness regarding websites, writing projects, online communication, short distance travel. And so this is a Cazimi that activates a kite. So around the 28th, 29th, those are narratives that are really lucky for you. At the same time, you know, hey, a series and a domino effect, a friend who wants to help you, an elder sibling who benefits you, drum rolling you into a cascade of something positive in your world over the next 2 months from the Cazimi until when we see a visible Saturn in April, and we can get the better gains from it in April. You want to be strategic now about your career, right? You were looking at the lens of wisdom, knowledge, strategy, like an legal. What is it you can create in your career? I mean, Jupiter in the third house is ruling that 10th. So a lot of this could indicate things to do with career changes involving social media, websites, and structures around that for your online world. An advisor who's smart can give you professional strategic guidance about your career path. And that looks like a very solid, but sometimes like you have to look at it as critical and demanding your attention with a square. With Skat, what wishes and dreams do you want to make true? You have all of the wish fulfillment in your hands. Have your wings been melting? Have you just felt like things that you've been trying to achieve have been taking you to new heights that also have scorched your wings? And if so, what are you here to do about it in terms of wishing something new into the creation that allows you not to fall from the sky from scorched and burned and melted wax wings? That can be about health matters for some Pisces because, of course, this is your body. Saturn is giving you the structure and discipline to improve your body, but sometimes some people feel heavy, anxious, or health challenged when Saturn's moving through the first house. And so we may be seeing some resolution of those challenges because the sun here represents the house of sickness in your chart. And for some Pisces, it could be a turning point through insight, downloads, or understanding around health matters that have been difficult for you since last March when Saturn entered your first house. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I do want you to come to my webinar. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be elucidating, and it's going to be helping us in a meditation at the end. Get in touch with which asteroids are talking to us the most succinctly. Is it Gonggong, Ceres? I know I'm not going to put Gonggong in there, the destructive water serpent. I mean, is it Ceres? Is it Pholus? Is it Icarus? Is it Juno? Which of these asteroids is really wanting to engage us in the inner conversation of a downloadable insight and profound bit of change that this very rare Cazimi can bring into each of our lives? All right, in our Pisces part of our sky primarily. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out Sky Reader starting in maybe April or May, but get on the wait list so you're going to get in and you get discount codes for early access, early bird sign up. Blah. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful Cazimi recording on February 13th for my Patreon community, early access, ad-free content. They get up to 3 meetings by Zoom a week with me, a month, depending on your tier, private classes, conversations, divinations. Also, I'm giving away 2 free courses, and you can always quit after you don't like my Patreon community, but check that out as well. That's the Synastry class for relationship and Chiron creative purpose are giveaways if you try out my Patreon community. And of course, you can leave if it's not for you. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful rare triple conjunction Cazimi on February 28th.